Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with John Silva, the founder of Culinary, Catering, and Events, a company that hosts everything from intimate dinners, wedding receptions, corporate holiday parties, and more. Welcome to the show, John.
Malcolm, thanks for having me.
John, you grew your company's revenue from 1.3 million in 2014 to 2.9 million in 2017, a 123% increase. And in 2018, you hit around 3.9 million. Before we talk about how you grew your company so fast, can you briefly share what your company does beyond my quick intro and how your company differs from the competition?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always crazy hearing the numbers. So I feel like I live in it more than think about where the dollar is driving us. But Culinary Catering has become sort of this weird entity where we take clients, we talk to them about food and commonalities and hopes they have for some type of event, whether that's a wedding or a corporate holiday party or a 50th anniversary party or whatever it is that's gathering people together. And we try to create some sort of moment where they're sharing food and an experience that people can take away and talk about afterwards. I think that's really sort of the heart, is trying to create these unique moments that have food as the underlying base to them.
So how would you differ from a catering company, and how would you differ from an event planning company? Because they're kind of doing both.
Yeah, we're sort of spanning both of those fields. When I started the business, we were really focused just on doing cool menus and stuff that came from our farmers and we could get onto a plate. I didn't think it was that whole idea of the fork to plate movement. And I was passionate about it. I'm still passionate about the food. But what I really liked about the catering idea of it was that you could take this food and you could go into somebody else's world and watch them experience it. And then the next phase for me, since I think my background is in art, is I was trying to figure out how to expand on it and how to make it so that it wasn't just about that dish that people were enjoying, but it was about this full experience. And whether it was completely immersive or just some sort of visual display during it that they could take away. So started folding in the ideas of these memorable moments with delicious food. And at the end of the day, I think the value to the client was that we could help them plan and execute something that was more than just an interesting menu.
Can you give an example of a typical event or maybe a recent event?
Yeah, I think December is still a little fresh or maybe a little raw, depending on where, think of the workload for it. So I think we're lucky enough in the sense now where clients will find us, and whether that's through word of mouth or venue associations or some other form, and they know that we have bandwidth to take on a full project for them. So corporations recently reach out and they'll say, we have a date in mind. We need you to come up with something unique. And so what we'll do is we'll help them find a venue. We'll help them structure what that party is going to be based on their clients' expectations. We'll do the full menu, and all the service and all the bar programs that are needed for it. And then we start designing all the specifics. So maybe these are things like character artists that come in and sketch people as they walk across a runway, or interactive edible walls that people can use for a backdrop and also savory snack as they're walking through the space. And at the end of the day, we've worked with those clients to create something that is completely tailored to their branding, to their guest expectation. I think in most cases also sort of making sure that their boss is happy before the day is over.
Right. Now, I don't think I've ever been to an event like that. I mean, the fanciest event I've been to, you might have been my own wedding, and I don't think it sounds like what you described. Are the events you do, people call them over the top, or not so much over the top, but just so unique and people go, wow?
Well, first, I wouldn't tell your wife that the wedding wasn't the most memorable party you've been to.
Yeah, I might need to edit that out now.
Yeah. But I think what I would say is we are doing events in the Bay Area specifically where our platform is that food is good. And if you're not doing good food and you're not cooking seasonal and you're not taking care of your purveyors, you're probably not doing something right. So in all, I mean, realistically, in all cases, everybody are doing those things. What we're doing is we're trying to bring some sort of artistic expression to the event. And it may sound like it's over the top, but what it is, I think it's just different and unique enough that it's allowing us to sort of thrive in the environment.
Are each of your events different, or do you find that oftentimes there's some overlap to some degree between events and you're able to maybe repurpose some ideas you've done in the past as well?
Yeah, sometimes when an idea is really shocking or sticking, clients want us to do it again. So we might apply the basic concept to it, but we usually try to tailor it at least a little bit so that it's unique to them. Food service is food service. So doing stations and past appetizers, those are the backbone of what we do. Mm-hmm. The next thing is trying to figure out how to do it in a way that's just a little bit different and a little bit more appealing to the next client.
Okay. What sort of ideas have you had that have really been, how should I say, have staying power? The ones that clients say, hey, I want that too. I want to do it again.
Yeah, I think that something that's really been catching for clients' eyes recently has been these interactive stations. So we started this idea where you could walk into a space and there would be some sort of static image. And as you got closer to it, and we've been doing these on walls that work as partitions throughout the space, you realize that wall is actually all edible. It's just this sort of fun Willy Wonka moment. And the first one we did was actually this whole cascade of assorted donuts. And as you got closer in, you realized that they were donuts. But from further away, it just looked like a large logo of the company that we were doing the party for. And then that's sort of mutated over the last couple of years. Now it's moments where you can walk up and you see all of these canvases hanging, and you realize that the canvases are crackers and there's paint stations around, and all the paints are made out of naturally pigmented sauces and spreads that you can do your own al fresco painting or a little mural of the space and then eat it as a snack as you walk through the space. So we see that people are liking this option of being able to provide food, but also have it be sort of this build your own experience moment.
Very cool. To what degree are those stations eaten during the course of the event?
Yeah, they're usually edited throughout. And by editing, I mean they start as a fully populated food station. And as people come up over the course of a couple hours, they're taking bites or taking small vessels off of these stations. And then usually we're trying to create some sort of reveal. And whether it's a logo hidden behind the food or as things are removed or reveals some sort of image, it adds to a little bit of the intrigue of the party.
Yeah, definitely sounds pretty interesting. I've never seen something like that. I'm going to have to get myself invited to some of these events and check it out.
Yeah, come on out. I'm always looking for somebody to help.
All right. So in regards to your revenue growth, 1.3 million in 2014 to almost 4 million in 2018. So over those 4 years, what were the 3 biggest drivers of your growth?
I think that in 2014, what I did is I realized that there was an opportunity for me to get a little more exposure by joining associations. And I've realized that there's something quirky about me where I don't just join a group. I usually try to join and get some position, whether I'm leading it or sitting on the board. So I took a position with a national association. I was the regional chapter president of a group called NBSP, which is the National Association of Catering and Events, and was able to push myself into a place where I wasn't just another person in the industry. I was somebody in the industry that had some influence on what we should all be doing. And that, I think, helped Culinary to leverage where we were going and also leverage businesses around me so that we could all pull each other up in what we do, which is this events world. A lot of the collaboration leads to the next event, and the more collaboration, the better the events get.
Right. So the biggest driver was your involvement with the industry associations.
Yeah. And then, following with that, what we tried to do really was to start creating some sort of unique offering and make sure that we were showing it to the right people. And so the following years were about growing the team, making sure that we had people that had and have either an aesthetic that's about moments and unique experience, or a tie and love of food and creating design components to this world of food.
So the three drivers then, if I got it straight, one, your involvement with the industry associations at a leadership level. Two, coming up with a unique offer or unique offerings. And three, growing a team with diverse background that can deliver on those offerings. Is that about right?
Yeah, exactly. Probably said better than my ramble.
No, I'm just taking note of what you said, so it's easier for me to recall what other people say. So, in regards to joining the association, can you talk a little bit more about how that's helped grow your business? You talk about collaboration with other vendors. Now, are they also other caterers you're talking about, other event planners, or other people in different sub niches?
Yeah, there's something about surrounding yourself with peers, which I think is definitely warranted. So I've got a small group of catering owners that we meet and collaborate with. When I join an association, I tend to think of it more as a well-rounded group that I'm trying to interact with, and realistically other businesses that I can support with my own. So we connect ourselves with florists and event planners and venue coordinators. We connect ourselves with photographers. And all of these people were both able to fold into our own events to make our clients' experience better, but also stimulate their businesses at the same time. And I keep saying this to my team, and I keep saying it to everybody they work with, that friends tend to work best with friends, and people like to work with people that they enjoy spending time with. So relationships really set a good momentum to promoting your own business, and you can do that usually best by promoting somebody else's business.
Right, definitely. So I imagine there's a lot of quid pro quo as well, right? I mean, the florist remembers how you gave them a job, and when they have an opportunity for you, I'm sure they think of you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. How about in terms of your unique offerings? When you meant that, are you talking about a unique offering for each individual client, or are you thinking about a unique offering in general?
I think our ability to not have set menus and not have set offerings and always be based around maybe a hard line of where our profitability on events is a sweet spot for us. It allows us to look at some need from a client and be able to expand outside of that box of just the number and say, all right, well, how do we make this just a little more exceptional for them and a little more interesting for them and a little more creative, and not necessarily off the bat worry about where the dollar lies on that, but really think about what the end goal is and the experience for our clients.
Right. And then once you figure that out, see what you can do to make it fit within the client's budget.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And talk them through. I think sometimes the hardest part of a client's experience is trying to figure out what their budget is. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and whether it's, through past experience in different businesses or working outside of certain regions, a lot of the times they just need to see it. They need to see what all of the pieces are of the puzzle so that they can justify having this, exceptional experience.
Right. Now, can you give me a sample menu here? I imagine it's going to be a lot more than a typical menu that you can order at a restaurant.
Yeah, we just did an event, and the theme of the party was spring painting. So it was a launch party for a company. They were showcasing a new product that they were coming out, and their theme was all about painting an environment. So it was sort of right up our alley. So what we did is the interactive component for this was a large wall. We put the client's logo onto it as a vinyl print. And then on top of that, we put all of these edible canvases. The guests could come up and remove a large 5-inch by 5-inch cracker, go paint it and eat it throughout the space. And over the course of the party, it revealed the client's logo. We also had a station that we built out, and it was a play on colors. So we did small petri dishes. And in those, we did shaved and marinated beets. We did a gelatin, which was the vinaigrettes and little microgreens to make it look like a pop of color, but also like kaleidoscopes. And we did a dark purple tamal, sort of our play on a tamale, which had a vibrant red brushstroke, which was a roasted pepper romesco, and then was garnished with some house-made, really vibrant yellow corn chips. So these are all things that guests could come up and eat. And then we had this whole assortment of appetizers that would be passed throughout the space. So pastel colored gougères, which were done with beet pigments and cauliflowers. And these were little miniature Angus sliders that we passed in white tree branches. We did arancini, which is an Italian street food, but we had those blushed into different colors, and we're passing these on lightsabers, which were glowing. And so just a lot of that kind of stuff, it kind of kept going. We did Pantone cookies that were being passed out of the space, which were all colors of blue. And it was fun. People enjoyed it.
So all the things you just mentioned, was this for one event?
That was one event.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite a wide menu there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, now, do you have a bit of chef training in you as well?
Yeah, I started working in kitchens when I was 15 and a half. So okay. I was working in a mechanics, and I'd look across the street and I saw that there was this catering company and kids coming back from it. And they all looked like they're having the best time. And I looked down at my hands and I was covered in grease. And I loved my job, but I sort of loved the idea of trying to work in a professional kitchen. I grew up cooking with family, and I spent summers in Oklahoma growing produce with my grandparents and feeling really connected to that whole process.
Okay.
But I wanted to try out a professional kitchen. So 15 and a half, I walked over to this catering company. I showed them a work permit and started just doing these hilarious menial tasks of popping the tops off cherry tomatoes and buttering ramekins and doing just weird kitchen tasks. And I stayed with that company for a few years. And by the time I left, we were doing full production in the kitchen. I was helping to design events and stayed in kitchens for a long time in a lot of different ways after that, until I finally started Culinary.
And you're cooking up the dishes as well?
Yeah, we're cooking, we're developing menus. And I took that on to a bunch of food related jobs after that.
Uh-huh. So I always wonder about people who are highly skilled, in the kitchen, creating menus, creating new dishes and so on. When you're at home and you whip something up for yourself or your family or your friends, how fancy do you go, or do you just stick to the basics?
Yeah, it depends. There's absolutely days where when I get home, the last thing I want to do is have anything to do with food. I've got a couple kids. I've got a very supporting wife who is home with them most of the days. So sometimes it's just a matter of getting the energy up to cook. And sometimes it's just enough of energy needed to make a phone call and get something delivered. So it depends. I'm hosting a bunch of buddies tonight, and we're having steak night. So I've got a big aged New York in there that we're going to cut down, and I'm cooking for them for all the sides, but no joke, I'm going to have them cook their own steaks, and, it's just going to be a get together. But I love it. I love food. I like making it fancy when it's needed, but sometimes just a really good bowl of mac and cheese is totally fine.
Yeah. I mean, keeping it simple can be fantastic. I remember I had a barbecue for my coworkers and friends one day, and they were saying, "Wow, this pork is delicious. How did you cook it?" I go, "There's nothing. It's just salt and pepper. That's it."
Yeah.
That's all it takes sometimes. So.
Yeah. That's what I love about food, is that it's almost the easiest thing to talk about with a group of people, because everybody does it. Everybody eats, and everybody has an opinion, and everybody's got something unique that they can bring to the table. So it's just easy to work off of as a platform for conversation. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, boy, I haven't made I used to roast apples on the barbecue grill right after the main was done. I'm thinking I might need to do that now. It's been a while since we've done that. Those are always good, having the caramelized apples to munch on. So,
that sounds fantastic.
Yeah. So the third driver, growing your team. Can you talk a little bit about that? So from when I checked out your website and all, you don't hire traditionally.
I do not hire traditionally, no. And for better or worse, I think my most successful hires come from interviewing outside of a room. I usually take people for a walk, and I ask them, all the questions that I'm legally allowed to ask. And then I hope that people can expand onto those and tell me a little bit about who they are. Because if you can impress and inspire me to have a conversation with you, I feel like you do the same thing to the clients that you're working with. And at the end of the day, I want the experience of working with Culinary not just being about me and being about this artistic expression that we're trying to push out into the food world. I want it to be about a couple looking back and saying, it was fantastic working with Kelly from Culinary on planning our wedding, or it was amazing working with Allison and Madison on the design for our events, and having this friendship that comes from it. And so I've always looked at people that have a story about them. Have they traveled? Do they have something that they're looking for after they leave Culinary? And how can I help them get to that point? So we find good people. It's hard. It's definitely not the easiest thing to do, but I have a really exceptional team.
Right. Do you find any profile of your employees to be exceptionally good fits for Culinary?
I think you have to be willing to join a cult. That might be the best profile at this point. Or realistically, you have to be able to embrace an environment where people are actively looking out for you. So the expectation is that you're also looking out for them.
Right. How big did your company grow employee-wise over the past 4 years?
Yeah, when I started it, I was walking up 5 stairs and trying to figure out what Culinary is going to be. And in 2014, I had a small team of 3. And we were hiring a lot of hourly employees to do events. And then I made a justification at one point where there was something really good about bringing people into this that had passion to it. And, if I could support them, that would support the business. So today we have 12 full-time salaried employees, which isn't huge. And then we have a staff which are on-site and event production focusing, which is about 123 on top of that 12.
And the 123 are hourly or as needed?
Yeah, all hourly. No contractors at this point. So people that are vetted within the Culinary world and help us do a myriad of things, whether it's cooking or serving or building or designing or installing.
Right. But the 123 aren't necessarily working with you full time all the time.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Do you find that bringing on people is a constraint on your business? That you can't find people fast enough in order to meet the demand for your service?
I do. Yeah. And we're trying to fill 3 positions right now, and just haven't found the right fit yet, but definitely actively looking.
Right. Well, who are the 3 positions that you're looking for? What are they? Maybe someone's listening here and will say, hey, that's me.
Yeah, if you have anybody out there that's interested, we're looking for somebody to work in the front of our house, which is client focusing, to lead teams of 6 to 100 staff on site. This is going to be an on-site event manager, full-time salaried position. I'm looking for 1 business development role, which I think at this point would be a benefit, who are doing active outbound sales and connecting us with vendors, venues, and potential clients. And then I'm also looking for another sales role that will be in-house, helping to take our clients' dreams and execute on them and make sure that they're supported throughout the whole build of their party or their event.
Right. More of an account manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine how the first one might be the hardest, finding the on-site event manager who's capable of running a team of 6 or up to 100. That's quite a wide range.
Yeah, it is. And oddly, 6 to 10 is not too hard. And so you need that right person that can think of it as, 10 groups of 10, not 100 people staring at you, waiting for
yeah,
roll call.
There. Looking ahead a little bit for 2019, imagine that you and I are having a conversation a year from now, and you're looking back over the past 1 year. What has to have happened in your business for you to feel happy with your company's progress? In particular, what problems do you have now that need to be eliminated? What opportunities do you see that need to be captured? and what strengths do you have that need to be maximized?
Yeah, I never thought that I was going to be the founder or CEO or president or chief creative director of a catering company. I always thought that I was going to be a cook. So I don't have an MBA. I think I have some street smarts, and luckily have been able to figure out how to get where we are today. Some of our systems we're still working on streamlining, and luckily the team's helping out and being proactive on all of that. I think if you were to talk to me next year and I have done my job right, I will have hired those 3 positions and efficiently set goals for sales for them. We'd have systems in place that take you from what an initial phone call or coffee meeting with somebody at Culinary is throughout the whole party, and then collecting, the last payment of their event. And it would be something that we could easily train new staff on. It doesn't quite exist like that, as streamlined as I want it to be, but it's where we're looking to go over the next year, with a little bit more systems that are defined for the group.
So would you say that's the biggest obstacle you have in terms of achieving what you want to get done in 2019, the hiring of the 3 people? And I think
hiring the 3 people is probably the biggest challenge. I'd like to say the biggest challenge is competition and exposure rates and all that, but I think those 3 positions help solve a lot of the other problems that I am looking at, or challenges that I see in the growth of Culinary.
Right. So are you finding in terms of hiring that you're just not getting enough candidates through the door who are interested, or are you finding that you're getting plenty of people interested, but they're just not the right fit after you speak with them?
I might be sabotaging us a little bit on this. I think that I'm looking for a unicorn, and I just haven't quite found it yet. So there's people that I think that'll work, and we've hired in the last couple of years, some people that have seemed really good on paper, and then it's meshing them with the group and making sure that it fits out. And sometimes it's not a good fit. And so when it's not, you have to start over again. And I tend to be a little gun shy when you go through the process of hiring and having it not work out. So I might have to, put my foot down on some of the things that I constantly read about hiring efficiently and fast, and firing even quicker as needed. But I tend to fall in love with people. Yeah. So the firing part never happens as fast as it needs to.
Yeah, well, it cuts both ways too, in a sense that people know that you have their back. They're willing to go the extra mile for you as well.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the biggest challenge then, hiring the 3 people. Number 2, it sounds like, is building up the systems for you to train your staff on, which also is similar to the first one you mentioned about streamlining your systems. Any particular opportunities you see business-wise that you want to capture over the next year?
I do. A lot of what we're doing are these visual moments that people see, and they're very easily photographed, and they're these wow kind of like quick snapshot moments. And so recently people have been asking us to expand on that offering rather than just all the full catering. So I've been trying to figure out what that is. Is it design that's just an installation for food? Is it some interactive food experience? So that's definitely something that has been going through my head around more often than not. And I think in the next month will be something that we start doing a little more development into.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can take that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. How about on the hearing side, oral sound side, the sound side? Is there some ideas you have that might make food interesting from a sound perspective?
Yeah, we've messed around a little bit with some pitches to clients about experience an event with some of the technology that's out, things like silent discos and head setting throughout, and creating different ambient noises in parties. Mm-hmm. It almost feels like it might just be a little further out in people's imagination than we're able to capture, but I like to throw these things out to people and see what the reaction is. We haven't got anybody to bite on it yet, but I feel like we're getting closer to that moment.
Yeah. How about in terms of business opportunities? Is there a particular niche that you see really attractive that you would like to go into?
Yeah, I think we're diversified enough in the types of events we do. Now what I'm looking for is probably the exposure to that client that really does want to do something really outside of the box. Who this person is, I still don't know how to reach them, but I do sort of in an offering have an idea of what we want to show them.
Right. Now you're talking about a corporate type events, or are you talking about more of the personal type events, right? I mean, like corporate events like the annual Christmas party, or personal events like wedding receptions?
I think it's both. It might just be a caliber of client that's one step above who we're dealing with right now. Mm-hmm. Somebody that has a budget and understands that you need certain resources and now able to really do it to the full extent. We work with a lot of companies that are large, and we work with a lot of really, amazing couples on their weddings. I think some of it is just finding the marketing to get to that next client who has the ability to help us create a new moment for them.
Yeah. And at the same time, a new moment for yourself as well. It sounds like you're interested in coming up with new ideas as opposed to just redoing what you've done in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned marketing. I took a look at your online presence with the tools that I have. I didn't see any pay-per-click campaigns that you're running currently, and your SEO presence is pretty light. What's your take on that, on pay-per-click and SEO in terms of generating leads for you?
Yeah, I'm up in the air about it. Recently, I hired somebody to help us do AdWord campaigns and to build SEO into our website. And I like the idea of more traction, but my sort of inherent worry is whether or not having more people come to our front door is really going to garner us the type of business we want. I'd almost rather spend a budget working directly with the planner or a venue or an affiliate that I thought could convert quicker than throwing a bunch of darts out on the internet. So right. I go back and forth. We're trying this, the pay-per-click and the AdWord search and the SEO now, and I'd love to see how it goes, and I'm hoping that it works well, but in the past, it's always been more fruitful working directly with people rather than working through our website and online tools.
Right. Has your specialist gone live yet with their ad campaigns? Do they have results to show you just yet?
I think my problem might be that I might not have the right specialist yet. So, we talk a lot about strategy and have some campaigns running, and they're either paused or they're being revised. So sometimes I feel like you need to pull the trigger, and this person just might not be pulling the right trigger at this point.
Yeah, definitely. It's you're kind of in an interesting space because you need to kind of figure out what people will be searching for, right? To have these visual moments, memorable moments for their event. And that's the key thing, is figuring that out. And once you get that out, and then I think it can work really well.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So right now, your marketing is primarily through word of mouth, or do you do some advertising and other sorts of outreach as well?
Yeah, primarily it's through word of mouth. We host a lot of clients and potential partners. We show them our food. We let them see our designs and experience some of what we're putting together, and then extrapolate on what we can do for their clients, and let them know the value of behind working with us. We've done things like ad campaigns in magazines, and we've done showcases in the past, and sometimes that exposure rate's good, but circulation on magazine hasn't really bore that much fruit for us. Sometimes if you're in a showcase and there's a ton of competitors in the industry, you sort of just become white noise in the space, and haven't really tried much more besides that. Sometimes I'm just thinking about the next creation, not so much about the actual marketing of it.
Yeah. Are there competitions you can enter?
There are. Yeah.
The most imaginative edible display or something like that?
Yeah, and we're in a bacon competition coming up in April, so that one should be fun. And I think we're doing that as a team just because it gets us a little out of our own headspace for it. But
Yeah.
I've got a group around me that love competitions and I enjoy them as well. So I'm pretty much betting on us to win that one.
What's the theme of that competition?
Bacon and beer.
Oh, a great mix.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you can have a lot of fun with that one. So, in my opinion, bacon's the well, it depends if you're a believer in the low carb idea, but bacon is really the best food because it's high in fat, high in protein, and not that much carbs, right? If it doesn't have that much sugar in it.
Yeah, and high in flavor. I'm a full advocate just about bacon and anything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, bacon donuts are a good mix in my opinion. So, 3 final questions for you.
Yeah.
If you were to have a billboard along one of the freeways that are moving fast, along 101, not during rush hour, but perhaps on weekends and evenings, and people have 6 seconds to see your billboard before they drive by, what is your 6-second billboard message for Culinary Eye?
Let's say creating something uniquely yours, and then our website right below it.
All right. Imagine you have what would your picture be on the billboard?
Yeah, maybe somebody eating a edible nest out of a forest.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You don't eat nests that often, so that'll be very unique.
Yeah, hopefully not, right?
Yeah. And my final 2 questions for you. Who are your ideal clients, and what's the best way for them to reach you?
Our ideal clients are people that want to be part of building something and experiencing something that isn't just food on a table. So if you're looking for a company or a crew of individuals that are creative who can support you in doing that, you should be reaching out to Culinary Eye. The best ways to get us is either over phone numbers. Our office line it's always ready to be picked up. And through our email, we divide our inquiries out to the team based on the need of your event. So you have somebody specifically designated to helping you produce what you're looking for.
All right. Would you like to share your phone number and email?
Yeah, absolutely. Our phone number is 415-824-1225. Again, 415-824-1225. And you can get us at our email at events, EVENTS, at culinary.com. That's CULINARYEYE.com.
What's the story behind your company name, Culinary Eye?
Yeah, it's become a tagline of ours. I love food, and I've always loved seeing our clients experience the food that we cook for them. So when it started, it was about seeing life through great food, and it was about having this eye for these moments, and hence the name Culinary Eye came into existence.
Yeah, it's a good name. It's different and it's memorable.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I like it. John, it's been awesome having you on my show today. I really enjoyed hearing how you grew your company so fast.
Yeah, Malcolm, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
We've been speaking with John Silva, the founder of Culinary Eye Catering and Events, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.